Well, my friends, I am back. I made it. I made it. It was, whew. Let's say I just wore myself out, but I was determined to get at least one prototype that we're working together done. And here it is. This is the first one where I'm giving the complete instructions. This is going to be a long tutorial than my normal tutorials, but I wanted to get all on one tutorial so you didn't have to go back and forth. So I'm going to just break it down for you step by step and walk you through it. It is so nice. Now I'm just sitting because I am so tired. Oh, I think I'll fall over if I try to stand up. Okay, so here's the very front. And this one I think it's called a brand new, I don't know if I should name them, but I'm going to call this one a brand new day faux suede sweater. It may not be on the title, but I'm telling you, this is a brand new day for me because I finally found something that I think I can get out to more people, and that it will be easier for more people to make and to fit as well. And it's easy on the mind and it's easy on the purse. What do you think of that? All right, as you can see, real quick, now I'm holding the camera. I'm gonna do my best not to jog it too much, but you can see starting at the top, we had a beautiful neckline, and see the beautiful shoulders, or where the sweater wraps around. Now you see the pretty faux sleeve tie in the front. Now I'm going to take it loose. Now hold on, I'm just doing it while I'm holding the camera. I'm too tired. You see how long they are. I'll show you that all over there when we go to the counter. Now, let me just hold the camera here and let me flip it around so you can see the back. I'm just going to hold it. Let you look at something pretty, I guess. Now I'm going to sit back down, start at the top. Now see? It's like a full sweater in the back. And I put that little pretty chart, little simple chart you're going to work. Put the detail, the 1x1 rib, the beautiful, this is the swag at the bottom. Look at that. Look at the swag. That's the pretty swag. It goes all the way across, just like a real sweater. I'm kind of messing up the camera, but stay with me. Stay with me so I won't faint. I'm about ready to faint. I'm so tired, people. Oh my gosh. But I was determined. Now look at that as I'm just kind of walking you up, letting you see that it has the full length of the sweater in the back. Wish my arm is longer and I could do like other people. Reach and talk. There's the pretty little stitch. All this you'll get in this tutorial, all the details, so that I don't have to send you back to 2 or 3. The reason for this is to get all of this on, so from now on, once we start, I can send you back to this tutorial. Those who join us, I'll simply say, okay, this is where you need to start. Even if you don't make this, particular, this one, but this is where you need to start to get the information. And then I can really dedicate myself to stitches and maybe nicer yarn. Some of you have yarn you've been waiting to use for years. Well, after you get your numbers and work on this, I call it your basic prototype sweater, you will be able to just choose any yarn you want, but it just needs to be gauged to a number 8 needle. You can use a number 8 or 9, but I'm gonna go over all of that with you as we go to the counter. Well, what do you think? Are you ready? Okay, well, thank you so much. And we're going to go to the counter, and I have one other thing to show you. Let's see if I can turn, let's see if I need, let me go to the counter, and I have one more thing to share with you that I didn't get onto this tutorial. All right, let's see if I can get it in. Back in just a moment. All right, my friends, I have shared with you the finished sweater and kind of share with you the different parts of it and how easy I believe it's going to be for you to make it, and for you to just follow simple instructions. And so now we're at the counter, and I want to go over, of course, we need to have some numbers. That's one of the first things. So you can see, where you can fit, or how this sweater, faux sweater, will fit. All right, so I've got my little sheet here, and then I'm going to kind of walk you through part of it, and then I'll move it, and then there's more information underneath. But this is what I call, first of all, let's go through and just share sizes and what we have. First of all, I use like number 4 weight yarn. Now you can use yarn. I shared with you the yarn, some of the yarn charts. It's just simple yarn. So you can go through your stash and look. This is a stash buster. So I really want to see the challenges to see what you already have. That's what we'll do. The challenge is to see what you already have in a number 4 weight. Not a heavy number 4, but just a nice medium number 4 weight yarn. And if you look on the band, whether you bought it from the yarn shop or you bought it from the big box store or whatever, or you dyed it yourself. A lot of you, there's people that dye the yarn. I want yarn that's gauged to a number 8, a size 8 needle. I want the weight to be gauged to a number 8 needle. And number 8 just gives you a nice fit. And but if you are fluffy, or fluffier, instead of me changing and going up a size or something, I just simply went up 1 needle size to a number 9, a US number 9. That just gives me a little positive ease. Not inches of positive ease, but just a few stitches. And it works out great for me. So give this a try if you haven't done that. If you're fluffy and have hot flashes, try number 9. But if you are pretty lean and and you don't have that, a number 8 will work just fine. All right, so now, my sizes. It's pretty close to what, one time I had changed it, but I went back to, it's pretty close to what the numbers that I used in my regular sweaters. Medium to large, or this could be a small medium to large, okay? You will have 97 stitches. That's what you're going to be working with. This long back edge will contain, for this person, medium to large, 97 stitches. And then I'm going to break it down even more, but let's go through it. All right, I'm in the middle. I'm a 1X, and I'm hanging on to that 2X with all that I've got. It's slipping away, but I'm a 1X to 2X. And just FYI information, my bra size is 44, between a 44 and a 46. A 44, depending on the bra, to a 46, so you can kind of gauge and see if you would fall in a 1X or 2X. All right, and I'm going to cast on 105 stitches. See, that's pretty close to what my normal sweaters are, with just a little ease, and then my number 9 needle. Okay, we're going to see how it fits. All right, so that's 105 for my size. All right, then if you are broader or just larger, and you need more stitches, then a 3X to 4X, 113 stitches. 113 stitches for that person. And if you need it more, then all you have to do is add 8 more stitches to this number, and that will be for the next size up. Easy peasy. Does that make sense? All right, this is my working formula. And this is how I do my working formula. If you get a pattern, if you buy a pattern, you just get pages. You may get 4 or 5 pages of the instructions and different things and all the techniques and things, or how the pattern is laid out, or if you have it in a book. All right, I started just doing this one line approach. That's just something I just kind of couldn't deal with all the pages and all the charts. I just wanted something a little simpler. So I call myself working up a simpler way for me to work my projects. I call it Jay's Working Formula. All right. on this, the chart that we're gonna, or this lace that we're gonna add into this this sweater number 1, faux sweater. This is the first one up. This chart, I tried to make it really simple. I tried to find a real simple, easy to knit because this fabric is kind of variegated or stripy or whatever you're going to pick out. Remember, it's a challenge. I want you to get yarn out your stash. And if you could have at least 3 skeins on hand, because, you know, everybody's, you know, just have that much will be great. This chart is 14 stitches, is a multiple of 14 plus 1. So I'm going, instead of having, I had more in my sample here that I was working on, that I'm working on, but I wanted to make yours a little faster. So I dropped down to 5 repeats. So 14 times 5 is 70, plus the 1 is 71 stitches. So the first thing I do in making a working formula is to draw a line. Just real simple, just a line on a piece of paper. Now on this line, you'll see some vertical lines here going up and down. That's why I'm going to put a stitch marker. That's for separation of the different little sections. So once I have the number of repeats, we just said 5 and it's 71, right in the middle I put chart and there's 71 stitches. 71 for each size. 1 all the way. Okay, making it really easy. Now I need a border on each side. We just like to have borders to try to help things, just make it nice and neat edges and try to stop some of that rolling. And 4 is just real good for this project. So B stands for border. I put a border here and a border here. All the way down. All the sizes, everyone, everywhere, every size. Now, what's left, say for instance, on this person who has 97 stitches, I would subtract 71 from 97. And then I would subtract the two four stitch borders, and then whatever's left, okay, I divide it in half, and I think I had 18, so I put 9 stitches here. It just fills in the space. They're just filler stitches. And then I put 9 stitches on this side, so that my line is very symmetrical, and it's just easy. We start here knitting on here, and we just knit across, just like this. That's all. All right. Person 105. All right, everybody had 71, but when I subtracted all these numbers, I came up with the extra stitches. I think it was 26. I divided that in half. 13 here, 13 here, and down here I had 17 left over and 17 left over for there. Easy peasy. This is your working formula. I'm gonna let you get a good screenshot of it so that you can pick out yours. You don't have to worry about the other sizes. Just pick the one you think you are close to, and just take a piece of paper. If you don't know how to screenshot, I can't remember half that stuff either. Just take a sheet of paper and just take a ruler and just make yourself a line and go for it. Put in the numbers so that you can have it right on hand as we start to knit. Does that make sense? What do you think of this so far? Trying to keep it easy, trying to keep it simple numbers. All right, now let me get you started on the bottom edge. Let me give you some FYI information. You know now what to cast on for your size. Back in just a moment. All right, so I'm excited to get ready to knit with you. So let me share with you, okay, since now I've given you numbers. So if you are a seasoned knitter and you want to go ahead and cast on your full sweater, you can. Or if you want to do a little practice, I have this. But I'm going to walk everyone through this, just so that I will have it on this tutorial. So because we're going to be knitting quite a few of these, I'll have this so I can just actually send you back or have you to look at it if you not sure or can't remember what to do. All right, so on this I just have a little sample here. I don't know, maybe 47, I don't know how many stitches, just something so that we can practice. All right, the first thing, let me turn on the wrong side. The first thing we're going to do, once you cast on, now that you have a number, I've given you a working formula, and it tells you what number to cast on for your size, or the size you want to work. All right, so on this little sample, say if we cast on 47. Okay, all right, but I want to have either a 1x1 rib, which I call a casual, everyday kind of sweater or, top. Or you can just simply cast on and knit 2 rows, which I think is a little more dressy bottom edge because it lays flat and it just looks nice and thin and just really nice. And your pattern or your chart stitches, they really pop. And there's not, like saying, there's only just 2 rows to knit. So on the one where you are the people that may want to do a ribbing, all right, you cast on your stitches. Now we're at the bottom here. You're on the very bottom. This very first row, I call it a wrong side row. So this is how I do it every time, and I just want to make sure to get it on this tutorial so that it will be that you can find it. So once I cast on, and the first and last stitch of my ribbing, I called an edge stitch. It's not part of the ribbing. It's just an edge stitch. So on the wrong side, I knit that first stitch on every row. I just knit it. Some people slip the stitch. You can do whatever you like, whatever you're used to doing. You don't have to change anything. All right? So, but now, once I knit that, that's the edge stitch. That's all it is. Just the edge. It's on the edge. Then the next stitch on the wrong side. This is a wrong side row. I purl. Then yarn in back. I knit. Then front purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. All the way across the that first row. And as I get to the end, I should end just like I started. So I purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and I should have 2 stitches left. So I'm going to purl the last stitch of the ribbing because I'm on the wrong side, and then this stitch that just hangs out here on the end is the edge stitch. So for me, I just put my yarn in back and knit it. I knit it and kind of pull it tight, but some people knit through the back loop. I just knit it and give it a little tug, and I'm good to go. Now when I turn the fabric or turn the yarn back over, now I'm on the right side. If you need to, if there's any room, or if you need to put a little marker to let yourself know that that was the wrong side of the ribbing, that's fine. So when I turn, now this is the right side of the fabric. Now I'm on the next row, row number 2. I start again. This time, since I'm on the front, I knit that first stitch every row. Then the next stitch starts the ribbing. So on the front side, you're going to see a knit, then yarn in front. You're going to purl the next stitch, then yarn back, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. And you know what? 1x1 ribbing. And it always works out just great. Continue the sequence across the whole row there, and then when you get over here, you should be able to say, okay, I got a purl, purl, and then a knit, and then a purl. You just stand in sequence, purl, but you should have 2 stitches at the end. One will be the knit stitch to finish up the ribbing, and then the one is the edge stitch, which I knit on every row. So you knit and then knit the edge stitch. Turn the work, and you start the process all over again. This time you're on the wrong side, so you know that after the edge stitch, you're going to start with the purl. And just read the stitches. Now, I suggest that you, if you're going to do the ribbing, if you choose a 1x1 rib border, work it for at least 1.5 inches. At least 1.5 inches. It doesn't have to be perfect, people. Just get, measure and get it close. 1.5 inches. Or if you're tall, everybody's taller than me. So if you're tall and you think, I want a little more J, all right, then work it for 2 inches. But you don't need to go over that for this sample. So you'd work it either 1.5 or to 2 inches. Does that make sense? And when you're done, make sure you're on a right side row, that the right side row is facing, so that we can get ready to go right into putting, we're going to add some stitch markers, and then we'll be able to knit our chart. If you want the more dress or this little thin where you just knit 2 rows, that's exactly what you do. You knit 2 rows and stop. You're on the right side, you're ready to knit. We're ready to start working or putting in markers. How easy is that? Now go ahead and have a lot of markers, you know, maybe some the same or same color. You know, I just have different ones. But go ahead and have a few markers, 4 or 5 markers, just have them on hand. Now, as you looked at your working formula, we want to go ahead and set in a few markers right now because we're on the right side, we're on the front of the fabric, on both, either one, you're in the front. All right, so say we'll take, I'll just read mine, okay, since I am 1X to 2X. I have a border of 4, so after this person has finished their ribbing, they're ready to go now. So I want to close off all these stitches, so I'm going to go ahead and knit 4 stitches, put a marker. Okay, I'm reading off my own formula, own working formula. All right, put a marker. Then whatever the next number is, I have 13 stitches, so you knit over 13, put a marker. Then you knit on this long piece of fabric. This is just a little sample. You knit 71, put a marker. Then 13, put a marker, and then knit to the last 4. You got a marker right there. Knit 1, 2, 3, 4. Then when you turn the work, you would, of course, knit the border, which is the 4 stitches, knit on every row. You then put your yarn in front, and now you're going to purl all the way across. But we've already got markers in place, but you just purl across to the last 4 stitches, yarn in back, and knit those last 4. How easy and simple is that? Just like we always work our sweaters. I just wanted it really plain and simple on this tutorial. Now, let me just kind of move over here. For this little sample, like I said, it's 47 stitches. So, of course, you're going to, I didn't have but 2 repeats on here, but it follows the same thing. If I was reading my little formula for it, I'd have knit 4, and then I have filler stitches of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd put a marker. Then I have 14 stitches, 14 for the first repeat. So I'd knit across. You're down here at the bottom. I'd knit across. We hadn't started the chart yet. And if you want to put a marker to separate all the repeats, I'm telling you, it's going to make you, it's just really going to encourage you, and you won't have as many errors if you go ahead and separate each repeat as we work them. So then this one would be 14, and with the +1, this one, I'd go all the way, and it's going to have that 1 extra stitch. I have a marker there. Then I knit 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just for this sample. Put a marker, and then I knit the last 4 stitches. And of course, I turn the work on the wrong side and knit the borders, purl on the wrong side. Now we're ready to look at our chart and get started on actually knitting. You can knit on your real sweater if you are seasoned, or if you want to do this simple, just practice. Because I'm gonna practice on here, since I already have mine worked up to, on my original. All right, back in just a moment. All right, everyone has had a chance to look at and make a copy of your own working formula line. Now we're just gonna look at this easy, simple chart. You have an option. You can either work the chart or just work your sweater plain. It's up to you. All right, so right here, here's our chart. It contains 14 stitches plus 1 at the end. I just went ahead and had everyone to repeat, have 5 repeats, just to make it simple so that you can get on with it and not have to, take too long. So you'll repeat this going across 5 times, and then at the end of the 5th time, you'll have 1 extra stitch. Easy peasy. All right, real quick, here are the right side numbers are on this side of the chart. Here's my yellow highlight. This, it helps me, and I thought if I shared it with you, it would help you to just get used to reading charts And this is a very simple chart. I just wanted to give something, and so you wouldn't get too bored with just stocking it. For those that, you know, my seasoned knitters. All right, so real quick, on this chart, very simple symbols. Let's go ahead. On a blank box on the right side, here's the right side rows, a blank square or box, simply means to knit. So you just follow that through. When you get to a symbol leaning to the right, you're going to knit 2 stitches together. Real simple. Our little circle or 0, it simply means to yarn over the needle. Put the yarn over the needle and continue on across. The symbol leaning to the left, I'm going to use the simple slip knit. You know, we can do something else, but it just, people get used to it and it's fast. And of course, then you'd go over to the yellow highlight and you'd go back up to the first highlight and keep going across for the 5 repeats, and at the end you'd have a +1. How easy is that? On the wrong side, if the box on the empty box is knit on the front on the wrong side of this particular chart, we just purl back. Easy peasy. Like I said, I just wanted something simple, fun, and easy, and just to make the first one, you know, something that you can kind of work up quick. All right, so now we want to get right into, I'm going to push my chart back and kind of out of the way so that I can go ahead, and we are going to knit. We're going to knit this little sample. Let me make sure. I may have to adjust my camera down just a little bit. I'm going to knit this little sample, and as I share it with you, okay, this is 47 stitches, and I'll call out whatever I'm knitting as I knit. That makes it a lot easier to do that. Okay, now go this way. All right. I'm in this camera. Are you ready? I'm just doing some sample, just some scrap yarn to make it easier. Okay, on this formula line for this little sample, you're down here at the bottom now. You've knit your 2 rows, and then we did a knit row and put the markers in, and then we purl back. Now I'm on the right side again, and I'm working off the formula line. On this sample, I have a 4-stitch border. You'll be looking at your own working formula, so I'm going to knit those 4 stitches. Now, on this working formula, next thing it says 5. It says, in other words, I'm going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to knit 5. They're just the filler stitches to kind of fill up the this fabric so that I can, so this it's balanced on each side. It's symmetrical. So I just go ahead and just, I had cut the yarn. I don't know why I cut that yarn, but I had to tie a little knot there. It's fine. All right, so you put markers as you come to each section. You are putting your markers. Does that make sense? All right, now I am up to the chart. So let's go. All right, I have 3 squares that are blank, so I'm going to knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. I have a symbol leaning to the right, knit 2 together, knit 1, yarn over. Now there's 3 right here in the center. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then I stop and make a yarn over, knit 1. Now I'm going to slip, slip, reach back and knit. And after that, I have 2 stitches left. Just right here, and I'll stop at the yellow highlight. So I knit 1, 2. Now the yellow highlight tells me to stop, but I'm also going to go ahead and put a marker, and I suggest after each repeat to put a marker. That way if you do have a mistake, you don't have to try to figure out the whole, go across the whole thing. You can kind of look at each repeat and see if you can find it. You know, it's probably got to do with a yarn over usually. But I'm going to put a marker, or you're down here, you put your marker, and you go back up to the front of the box. And I'm going to knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'll knit 2 stitches together. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, 2, and 3. Then I have a yarn over on this side of the center, so yarn over, knit 1, slip, slip, knit, reach back like that and knit it. And since I only have the 2 repeats, instead of knitting 2, I have to knit 1, 2, and then there's a plus 1 right there on the end. So it makes it 3 for me, but you have a longer row. So I go ahead and knit 1, 2, and 3. Then I put a marker to separate or tell me it's the end of the chart. And to balance off, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I have a marker, of course, to tell me I'm at the border. I slide that and I knit the 4 stitches on every row. Now, for my little sample, and I forgot to move my little thing up here, that was row 1. For my sample, like I said, you're down here, so you don't see anything yet. But when you turn, you'll knit the borders and just purl back, and I'll see you on row 3 of this easy chart for our faux swag sweater. Back in just a minute. Alright, so let's just jump right on in. Now I'm ready. I'm on the right side again. So now I'm ready for row 3. Now I could have had this. I knit my border. Then I slide the marker. I knit my filler stitches, whatever your number is. I have 5 on this sample, so I'll knit that. And I am up to row 3. I have a marker, so it starts out with knit 2. There's 2 empty squares, so I knit 2, 1, 2, then I knit 2 stitches together. Be sure to, then after that I knit 1, then I do the yarn over, and I've already pre-counted, so I knit 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See, it makes it so much easier. I didn't have to take my eye off the chart. Then to stop it, I yarn over and knit 1. Okay, now I'm going to slip, slip, knit. After I knit that 1, then I'm going to slip, slip, knit. And I have 1 stitch left in the highlight now. That stops or ends the first repeat for me. I have 2. So then I have a marker there, so I'm going to slide the marker. And I'm back up at the front of the box. So I knit 2, 1, 2, knit 2 stitches together, knit 1, yarn over, knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over, knit 1, leaning, then the symbol leaning to the left, slip, slip, knit. And since I'm at the end of my repeats, I have 2 boxes left. So I knit the 2. 1, 2. Now I'm back up to my filler stitches. I slide the marker. I have 5 on this little sample. 2. That's 3, 4, and 5. Then, only thing left is my 4 stitch border. Slide the marker, and I knit the 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you'll start to see some of the pattern pop out, even on this simple little repeat. Alright, of course, work the wrong side. I will see you back at the last pattern row, row 5. My gosh, it went so fast. Okay, I'll be back at row 5. Take your time now, don't drop any yarn over though. Alright. Last pattern row, row 5. To keep you Keep your eye on the ball, but yet it's not a hard thing, a pattern or stitch to get into. We'll get into some harder ones later as I'm working on some new ones. All right, so I'm just following, staying in sequence, following the pattern to what I'm doing. Now I'm up to the chart on row 5. Let's see what it says. I get up to row 5, I slide the marker. Okay, you're still down at the bottom, working on your first go around. All right, I knit only 1. Then I knit 2 stitches together. Now there's a knit 1. Then you have a yarn over. And now I knit 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So nice to have it already marked. Yarn over, knit 1, and then I have the symbol leaning to the left. So I have 2 stitches. I'm going to slip, slip, and then reach back and knit those 2. For me, that's the first repeat. Now I slide the marker so I can go back up to the front of the box again, and I start with a knit 1. Then I knit 2 stitches together, knit 1 again, yarn over, knit 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I do a yarn over, I knit 1, knit 1, and then I slip, slip, knit, because it leans to the left, and I should have 1 stick, the plus 1 stitch left. There it is. At the end, you'd have yours at the very end of your last repeat. So I knit 1, I slide the marker, I have those filler stitches, knit on the front, purl on the back. Just stocking it, but it balances my chart, so it's not wonky. And then I get up to the border, and everywhere, I knit the last 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Woohoo! Okay. Now, you're down here, and so you should have some, even though you don't have it steamed open, but you can spread it open a little bit and see if you have some pretty yarn over stitches right down near the bottom, just like that. All right, now, what I want to do now, okay, I'm going to give you some information, and we need to take a measurement. So let me bring back the sample. Of course, you have to purl back to be on the right side of the fabric. So let me bring back the real sample so we can, so I can talk and tell you, you know, the next step. Okay, so now here is the sample in my real time, I'm knitting as you're knitting, sample. All right, now we need some measurements. So I need you to get someone to help you. Well, first of all, before we even do that, I suggest to go ahead and as you're working the chart, even at my short height, I would knit this chart at least 4 times. I'd just go up 1, 2, 3, 4, just to give myself a pretty, you know, swag in the back. If you're taller, let's say you're 5'6", 5'7", or something like that, everybody's taller than I am. I'm real short. So you might go up and repeat it 5 times. It's just up to you. Or you can do the 4. But at least try to make it to 3 is fine. You know, you'll get a little something. But 4, I think I was just mad that I didn't go on up and get the 4. So try redoing the chart 4 times. Then on the right side, on the last purl row, you turn the work. Now you're on the right side. Now we need some measurement. All right, you're going to need somebody to help you because we need to measure your back. We need to measure from the top of your shoulder. See if this is your top of your shoulder. right up here. We need to measure all the way down to your waist. So from the top of your shoulder down to your waist, and you know, inches or centimeters or whatever you use. I'm using inches. All right. And pick a number. Pick a nice even number. Don't pick wonky numbers. You know, 23, 19 and a half and a 3/4. No, just pick common sense numbers. So I just use 20. It just works for me. So I use 20. So from the top of my shoulders down to my waist in the back, okay, I have 20. So now once you go into finish your little lace here, your chart, whether 3 or 4 times, whatever, then you go into stockinette, where you just knit across on the front, purl back. Keep your borders, you know how to keep the borders. Knit across, purl back. Now you're just watching Netflix or something, knit across. Because I want you to knit all the way up to about 2 inches less than where you need to go. About 2 inches less than where you need to go. So if I need to go up to 20 inches for my back measurement, I'm going to stop at 18 or close to it. I could be a little over, I could be a little under, but stop, you know, try to get to that number, about 2 inches. That's what we're going to put in the neckline. Make sure you're on the front of the work. Have some of these little locking markers and some, you know, you may have to have a few other extra markers too. Same color, whatever, you know. But at least have some locking markers. I don't ever use this stuff. I buy this stuff. Look at me. I just buy this stuff all the time. I don't ever use it. Let's see, can I use some of it? Okay, so you'd have a couple of locking markers or something, because we're going to count off everything and set in the markers to set in our neck. Make sense? Okay, so now it's on you to work up, take the measurement. Well, first of all, finish the chart. Take your back measurement from the top of the shoulders to your waist, and then work up and stop about 2 inches shy of that number. That's where I'll join you, and we'll set in the neck. Happy knitting! Okay, back in a little bit. All right, guess what? I'm back. I have knit up the back of my sweater, of my faux swag sweater. I hope you enjoyed the chart. And you were to knit up to, all right, like I said, my back, I'm using the number 20. You were to knit up to whatever your back length was, 2 inches shy, so that we can start the neck process. So I've knitted up at least to 18 inches so that I can go ahead and set in my neck. All right. Now, the easiest way to set it in the neck without having to go through a lot of rigmarole is to simply, right now, once you've up to where you want to stop, make sure you're on the right side row. Okay, from this border, from that marker, count all your stitches just to make sure that you didn't drop any or add some, or, you know, if you have one too many, just knit 2 together somewhere. If you have one less, we can knit into the front and back, but count all the stitches all the way across to the other marker. So for my size, I'm in the middle. My total number of stitches that I should have after we've already worked it, we don't have to worry about the borders, we've already deducted those. I should have 97 stitches. 97 stitches. So let me show you how to write this up and how to figure what you have, or what you're going to do next. The next step, setting in your neck markers. Alright, so everyone, everywhere, every size will get 31 stitches for your neckline. Now you may say, well, Jay, is that enough, or is that... No, because we're going to add a nice border on each side. So for me, in the middle, okay, the one next to 2x, taking off my 2 borders, which we've already been working the borders. So that left me, and I counted again to make sure I have 97 stitches across. All right, out of the 97, I simply deduct 31 stitches for the neck. Everyone gets 31. That leaves me with 66 stitches. Now, since I have a left shoulder and a right shoulder, I divide 66 by 2. And that tells me After all is said and done, I should have a shoulder of 33 stitches here, a neckline of 31, and a shoulder of 33 stitches here. Does that make sense? So what I suggest you do, look at your size and just do this simple math. Like I said, you don't even have to worry about the, really all you have to do is just count. You don't even have to do the math. I'm showing you how I did the math, but let me show you how we're just simply going to count. As long as you have counted all your stitches across. All right, so if I should have 33, all right, I'm going to go before I set in any markers. I finished counting. I have 97. All right, so out of the 97 stitches, I'm going to count over 33. So I count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, all the way up, and I'm going to put a marker. I put these orange markers. You're going to need some locking markers and some moving markers. Eventually you will need some moving markers also. But I'm setting in, so I put in an orange marker. Now don't count the neck yet. Go over here and start on this edge. Your edges are always correct. We've already taken the 4 stitches out, so whatever's left, I count in. I should have 33. So I count in all the way, and when I get to the right number, 33, for my shoulders, okay, I put in a marker. Now I can count the neck. The neck is just going to be whatever the neck is. Hopefully you have 31, an odd number. And I count it, and I have 31 stitches. Yay, okay. All right, let's see what else I need to tell you. So now we want to start knitting because we're going to put in a 1x1 rib section right here. But as we go down each shoulder, we're separating now. We need a nice little border on each side of this. I have a border over here. Well, I need a border right here by the neck, and I need one on this side. So once you put in this marker, 31 stitches. All right, now I want you to count. Get some more locking markers. We'll put one there, one there. Okay, I want you to count back 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count back 4 stitches and put a mark. Put that another color. I'm using green. Okay, so there's the neck marker. Now here's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's simply a border, just like this border on this edge. So we knit the border on every row. So I will knit here, and I'll knit these 4 stitches on every row, and then we'll work the 1x1 ribbing. So now I need to come over here and put in, count back, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put my marker here. Now let's talk and walk you through a little bit, and then I'm going to knit off camera just to save time. And so that you can see, so that I can share with you what it looks like once you do the step. All right, so bingo! I've got all the I got the markers in to mark my shoulder, my new border, neckline, new border, and my shoulder. All right, so I'm gonna knit if I'm on the right side, yeah, I'm gonna knit across. Knit this little border. Then we're going to start the 1x1 ribbing here on the right side. On the right side, you will simply start with a knit and then go purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, all the way across to this marker, which is the neck, and you should end as you come up to the marker with a purl, and then you should end with a knit stitch at the marker because we're on the right side. You slide, oh, by the way, you're putting in, this is when you're putting in or adding moving markers. As I come to each one, I put in a moving marker. So then I'll get up here to this one, finish the neck with a knit stitch. Then I'll put in a moving marker. You don't just leave those in, but just put in a moving marker. Then I'll go ahead and knit 1, 2, 3, 4 for the border. Put in another moving marker right there. And then I will continue to knit on across and do my end border. Now when you turn the work, you're just doing what we normally would do. You turn the work. Should I flip it over a little bit real quick? Okay, so on the wrong side, you're going to knit each border, purl across all these stitches till I get to this border. I will knit, okay? Then, since I'm on the wrong side, the yarn should be in front so that I can purl one. So you're going to do the opposite stitch or just read your stitch. On the wrong side, I'm going to start with a purl. On the right side, I start with a knit for this ribbing. So I purl one, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl all the way across. Since this is the back of the fabric, I should end with a knit and then a purl stitch should be right at the marker. Purl, yarn in back. Now I have to knit this border. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then yarn in front again and purl on across until I get to the opposite border. Now I got a bundled up mess, but I hope you're getting the point. I had to redo this whole section. So I'm like, okay, this is early Sunday morning. I want to try to get it done so I can get it to you. And let me just take a look. So therefore, I have just walked you through what you should have and where the markers. Okay, that's all you got to do. Just put your markers in. Now I'm going to go ahead and knit off camera so I can come back and show you what it actually looks like in real time. I don't want you to try to, well, let me think. I'm trying to think now. How would that look? I'm going to come back. I'm going to knit. So I need for you to knit at least an inch, maybe a little less than maybe 1.5 inches because we're going to bind off this neck. So I'm going to work everything, including the 1x1 ribbing, all the stitches and the 2 new borders for at least around 1.5 inches. Don't have to go over that. And then we're going to come back and bind off this neck, and guess what? We'll have 2 shoulders getting ready to go over into the front section. All right, you keep knitting and I will too. Just back shortly. All right, I have worked a little off camera. I hope you have as well, and I just wanted to show you in real time what you should have or something close to it, hopefully. All right, real quick before we get ready to bind off our neck, as you can see, remember we were just supposed to, we were working to do a 1x1 rib here in the neck section and start this little knit every row going up each side to form a border. All right, I've knit about 1.5 inches or as close to it. Try not to go too much over, you know, just I don't want it too wide. And so as you can see, let's see if you can see that real close if I bring it. So there's the neckline, there are my markers, everything is still in place. Now all I have to do, so I just finished a right side row. We're going to bind off on the wrong side like we normally do. So I will turn the work, well, let's see. I don't know if I could take the time to do it on camera. Let's see how much can I get done real quick on the camera and see if you can see it. All right, first of all, you see, this is the wrong side. Now I'm ready to go. That was the right side. So now I'm going to start here. And I get my needle. Check to make sure because I don't want to do all this and it's not on camera. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. So, all right. I'm going to at least get up to the neck section just so that you can see it. Of course, I start with the border. You know, I've got to do that real quick. So we'll just take a few moments. It won't take that long. And I don't have to do the whole thing. I can walk you through a lot. Once you make this one is the reason I start with this. It's just it's your kind of inexpensive yarn, just something for you to get your prototype. You'll find right away once we finish and you know start wearing it, you'll decide then, oh, you know what, I need to add a couple of numbers here, or I need to do something, you know, in case you feel like it doesn't fit in a place or two. That's what you know, that's how you you know, go and try to make things fit. That's why I had so many samples. I would try different things, and it's, of course, you got to, when you're doing tutorials and things, you're trying to fit as many people as possible, or find numbers that will fit most people. There's always going to be exceptions. You know, that's how I started designing my own stuff, because I was always exceptional. Even before I got fluffier, I was short, you know, and not most people were 5'6", 5'7", and I was trying to make their designs, and it just wasn't working. So I thought, well, what if I just, you know, do my own little stuff, or try to make me something. Oh, I dropped a stitch. Let me pick it up and put it back on. Hold on, I was talking. All right, now all I'm doing, I'm on the wrong side, of course, of the work, because that's where we want to bind off. We want to stop the neckline, and then we will have 2 separate shoulders. So I get up to the first group of stitches, stitch markers, okay? The first group will tell me there is my new border, and then I'll start binding off the neck there. So let me just go on, since I've come this far. Hope I don't hit the camera, sorry. Yarn in front and back to knit. So I knit 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now if I have to drop this little marker to get it out of the way as I get ready to bind off the neck, I can. I can just lay it aside. Here are the neck stitches right there. I still have all my little markers in place. It's just good to have things. Okay, now I'm simply going to start here, but I'm going to use the knit stitch so that that funny line will be on the wrong side, and you'll have the little purl bumps on the right side. So the yarn is in back, so let's go. I need to knit 2 stitches. 1, 2, stop, reach back and bind off. Okay, knit the next stitch. Reach back and bind off. And the next. Reach back and bind off. The neck. Knit, reach back and bind off. And we're going all the way across. Knit, reach back and bind off. Stop, and I see how that line is forming, but yet on the right side you're going to have just a little purl bumps. Now, it doesn't, it won't work on all things, but when I can, I do it this way. So let's just see how quick I can go across here, just so I can make sure I remind you at the end. There we go. Make sure you don't drop any stitches. Oops, I was trying to adjust the light a little more this way. Okay, I hit the light. All right, let's go. Continue to go. Continue to bind off. And every once in a while you just stop and make sure you're not too tight. Everyone, everywhere, every size had 31 stitches for the neck. Oh, I just dropped my little thing. Let me get it back. Hold on. That way it was, I felt that I could make a better pattern and not changing the neckline over and over for different sizes. Just find one and stick with it. And all the numbers just worked out great, so I thought, that's it. Let's try 31. All right, I'm coming up. I just want to make sure that I show you how. Make sure that you end there so far is the neck. I'm binding off. Can't see it good until I can put it down. Hold on. We're almost there. going too fast. I don't want to drop nothing, make a mistake. Oh gosh. Okay, so I can see the marker. I can see I'm coming up to where the neckline stitches will stop. I see the marker. Slow down, Jay. There's a stitch right there. See that stitch right there? And there's a marker. Okay, I bind off. I knit it and then I reach back and bind off. But look, for those that are new or don't remember, this last stitch here still belongs in the neck. So that means I have to take this mark and just lay it down. I have to bar this stitch over here. Knit that one stitch. Now reach back and bind off. Now I still have 1, 2, 3, and that makes 4 for the border. So now I've bound off all the neck, but let me go ahead, and now I have to put the yarn in back, of course, because this is a border. Remember the 4-stitch border, the one we made up? So that's 1, that's 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then I'm on the rest of the row. I'm going to purl across till I get to the last border. So I need to bring the yarn in front, slide the marker, and purl across. I made it this far. Let's just see. I'm just purling now so I can just purling so I can lay it out. I don't know why I keep hitting the camera, sorry. It's a tight squeeze here, and it's hot today for some reason. Very hot and humid. Although it's not raining or anything. Okay, let me just go, and I made it this far. Let me just see if I can make it. I didn't do a research to see when these were real popular, but I remember watching old black and white, you know, when I used to watch tennis, and they'd go back in time, and I remember singing when they had strangers, big old heavy rackets. Some of them would have these sweaters, faux sweaters, back in the day, but they were real sweaters where they were simply tied around their neck. They'd take the actual sleeves and tie it around their necks. I guess somebody came up with an idea, well, let's just do half a sweater. Okay, let's hope that I had this all in the camera frame. All right, so now let me turn, and then I will check, see if I had it in the camera. Oh, that looks so pretty. Oh, let's see now. Let me make sure, and let me check see if I had it. I hope I did. Okay. Here is the bound off back neck band right there, and here, oh, my light in bad shape? I don't know. I hope you can see it. Okay, but I'm gonna hold it up. There's the neck band, and then here are the 2 new borders going up on each side. Now all we have to do is I'm gonna have to get another needle, and we're going to see which side the yarn on. That's the side I'm going to work with. The yarn is on this side, so I'm going to get another circular needle, or you can use a straight needle, whatever. And I'm going to work on this side. So I'll be back shortly and show you how to get started doing that, and what we need to do to get over the shoulder and start down the front. But there is your neck band right there. How pretty is that? Now I'm going to hold it real close. See that funny line right there? Can you see that funny line? Right there. And then there's the little bumps. All right. Let me get some needles, and I will be back. All right, my friends. I am back. And as you can see, I just decided to work as much as I could off camera, because I really think it would be better if I would get everything on this one video of the basic steps, because we just repeat these steps for every every one we do until we change the whole design. We'll just repeat the same steps and everything. You'll use the same numbers, same needles. You just find some yarn. All right, so when I left, we had finished the back. We had bound off the neck. I took my time to show you how to put the marker so you can do it the same way each time. I don't change anything. So now, when I was leaving, I said, okay, whichever side the yarn's attached, that's where I'm going to start the front. So it was attached to this side. So I just simply, with a shorter, it was the same size needle, number 9, but instead of the long one I needed for the back, I just got one, maybe 29, a 929 in length, something like that, just a little shorter. All right, so I started knitting, just knitting back and forth, and as you can see, we had already put in this beautiful rib border, not rib, but garter stitch border on this side. Remember when we made those 4 stitches, when we added the 4 new stitches? This is the pretty border it made coming down. We already had the side border. So I just started knitting back and forth. Do the border, knit, purl back, back and forth, back and forth. Now the next measurement is really important to help you not to have to do any more math or anything. I'm going to show you how to make it simple, and you can do the same steps every time. So you're knitting back and forth, coming down the front. Now, every once in a while, after you get a large piece here, you need to go to your mirror and kind of drape it over the back and down the front. See how, just kind of fit it onto your neck and down the front, and see where it falls. What I need for you to do is to knit this front until you come to the center of your bust. So you need bust line. So you need to have on a bra. And then just right across. You know how our bust line, we just go right across the cleavage, right across the other bust, right, just like that. Just go across. Get as close as you can. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but just get, across the center of your bust line. Now, then I want you to stop. This is what's so important. I want you to stop, and I want you to go back to where we started. Remember where we put in this 4-stitch border, this new one right here. All right, if you look on the back, right below the neck, around the neck where we bound off, you're going to see the little ridges. Remember, in a lot of my knitting, it's about the ridges, not so much about the rows. All right, so I want you to count 2, 4, 6, 8, and I want you to count all the ridges down to where you've kind of put a little mark, or where you stop knitting, to see how many ridges you have as you get to the center, the center line of your bust. Okay, you're just doing that. You're just going down. Make sure, Okay, so I'm just giving you, I'm in the center. I'm the 1X by 2X, but I'm very short, But anyway, once I counted, whatever that number is, make sure you go up to the next, maybe up to the next whole number. Make it a whole number. Don't get 23 and 3/4 and all that. No, just make it 24, or make it 20. If you're tall, it may be 28. I stopped at maybe 27, so I just went on up to 30. See, make it easier on yourself, because what you do here is going to be repeated here. You want it to be and then that's going to give you room, because you got to go over your bust, and your bust is not flat. Your bust is going to fit under this. So you just knit down till you get to the center cross of your bust line. Go back and count the ridges. And I took a piece of masking tape. Remember, masking tape is our friend. Ridges. 30 ridges. I just did it. I did extra ridge or so to make it 30. Make it come out even. All right. And then once I started that, now I can start the decrease of our faux sleeve. And here it is. I'll put it up here so you can see how it starts out really wide. It's kind of hard to try to figure out how to get it on the camera, but I'll keep moving it around until I get it on there. But it starts out really wide, but we want to taper it down as you come down to the bottom. See that? We want to see how it tapers. How it tapers down. Okay, let me go back up there. There's where it's still wide. See? All right, so now once you get a number of ridges, bust line, put a little marker so you'll know. Now, just go ahead and knit until you're on the right side again. I need you to be on the right side. So you finish that and then just knit another row or something. A knit row and then purl back, and then you're on the right side again. You want to be on the right side, and we're going to start to decrease. Now I'm going to turn it. Let's see, can I turn it? All right, well, let me just leave it here, and maybe I can just... Okay, the decreases for this. You can see it starts to decrease right there where my little mark is. All right, as you're knitting down, all right, on this, I think I need to change it. Hold on, let me just change the camera. Back, just a minute. All right, so now I've turned it upside down so that you can actually see as you're knitting down. Like I said, you get to the bust, the center of your bust, you put a marker, you count the ridges and make it come out to whatever the number is. Just make sure, go up to the next even number. Make sure it's a nice even number. I had 27, so I went up from 7 to an 8 to a 9, 30, or I had 29, but I made it 30. Okay, makes sense? Now, we want to start decreasing. So you knit across and purl back, and on the next right side row, we will make our first decrease. So over here, I've got my needle and everything, and I'm getting ready to go across because I've got this mark, so I'll know where the center of the bust line is. And now I'm getting ready to make my first decrease. The decreases are going to be very simple. On this side, as we start to knit across, we're going to do a slip slip knit to get it to lean to the left towards the center. We want the decreases to come in like this instead of going out. So on this side here, I'm on slip slip knit. When I get here on the same right side row, as I get to the very last, well, I'll do the border, and then right as soon as I do the border, the next thing I'll do is a slip slip knit. Then I'll knit across, and 2 stitches before this border on this side, I'm going to knit 2 stitches together. It will lean to the right, so you see how they're leaning towards the center. Can you see that? And just so that you won't forget and have any problems, always, like I said, remember, masking tape is your friend. Right away, once you start, I would stop, and on this, just like you see me unfold this sleeve, or just like right here where I started, I took some masking tape. Look. So if I leave or go away, even for a week or so, and then I come back and go, oh, now wait a minute, now what was I doing? What decrease? On this side, I'm going to do a slip slip. After you do the border, as soon as you finish the border, slide the marker, slip slip knit. Knit across, 2 stitches before the marker on this side in the border, knit 2 stitches together. Slide the marker and knit the border. And then purl back. Now, what you want to remember is only decrease on every other right side row. Now, that's going to take a little practice. If you look, you'll be able to see the little crossover stitch where you slip slip knit. If not, just take a little piece of scratch paper and mark it. Okay? But you don't really have to worry about it because I'm going to show you the easiest way to keep track of it. So now I'm knitting. Okay, I've decided, okay, I'm starting, and I decrease, slip, slip, knit, knit across, knit 2 together, purl back. All right, the next row is just the right side row. I just knit across. See, you don't do anything but every other right side row. Then when I purl back, all right, now this is the row I want to decrease again. I knit the border, slide the marker, slip, slip, knit. Knit across, 2 stitches before the marker, knit 2 together. Slide the marker, do the border, purl back. The next row is just a regular right side row, so I just knit across. Then I purl back, and then the next right side row I want to decrease again. And you're just going to continue that on down, okay, until what you're going to find is that when you get near the bottom, or after you've done a few decreases, I want you to stop. Everyone, everywhere, every size. You're going to stop. Remember, we had a bunch of stitches when we started up here at the top. Remember? We had, I don't know, 30, whatever your number is. All right, we're going to decrease until we can count 16 stitches. Look how easy that is. You don't even have to keep track of it. You just keep decreasing. Every once in a while, stop and count these stitches. Not the borders, just the stitches in between the border. Not the borders, but in between. I want you to stop at least at 16 stitches. If you had an odd number when you started up here at the top, you'll have 17 stitches, which is fine, because you're going to need it, because we're going to do this 1 by 1 rib when we get to the bottom. Okay, so for me, I think I had 33 stitches, so that means I had an odd number. So I kept decreasing until I had 16 stitches, and then I had one extra stitch. That's fine. If your number was even at the top, and you keep knitting until you get to exactly 16, well, when we get ready to do the ribbon, we'll have to add one stitch. You'll just go over to one corner, one side, and just knit into the front and back, and just add a stitch. You know, so that you can have your 16 stitches, or 17. It's that 16 plus that one, because we're going to do a ribbing. Does that make sense? I hope I'm not botching it. So now I keep going and keep going. Now you need to know, well, how far do I go, Jay? How far do I go? Okay, the easiest thing, I'm going to pull this up now. Here's the bottom back of the sweater. We know you had a length that you had your sweater to come to, from the top of your shoulders to the your waist. I used 20 inches. So all I want to do is to make sure I don't even have to measure. Just lay the sweater right on top like this, as I'm, line it up really nice from the shoulder. See, I just lay it across the shoulder, let it come down nice and smooth. I need to clear the bottom of my sweater right here at least 2 inches. I need to clear the bottom. Keep going. You've already finished you've already finished the decreases. Now you're just knitting again. Just knitting, knitting, knitting. And then once you lay it down here like this, and you go, okay, that's 2 inches. She said clear the bottom of the sweater at least 2 inches when I'm knitting. Once you do that, then on the right side row, you would simply start your 1-by-1 ribbing. You just don't worry, the borders are done. We start with a knit one as the edge stitch. See, it's the same thing, but since we're working on the front, you knit the first stitch as the edge stitch, then I knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl all the way across. And like I said, if you have an odd number, you're going to come out just right. Knit, purl, knit, stop. The last stitch is the edge stitch, so you knit it. If you had an even number, you're just going to come up here to maybe, right before this border, this section over here. I wouldn't do it right in the center. I'd do it over to the edge a little bit. You're just going to knit into the front and back of one stitch so that you can keep going. Okay, so I have a knit, purl, knit. Okay, right here, I think I'm going to knit into the front. I'm going to knit into the front and back, and then I have the extra stitch, so I'll knit, purl, knit, and then you'll have an edge stitch. And you're going to do that for at least, I would do it for 2 inches, but I like mine a little longer, so I try to go to 3 inches. If you have enough yarn, and if you have enough juice left in your arms, if you can make it to 3 inches, that looks even pretty. There's my little ribbing at 3 inches, and it rolls in on itself, which is fine. That's what you want. It's a faux sleeve. Okay, so that is exactly how you would finish this little faux sleeve, and then I'll tell you, at the end we'll go over how to use steam and everything. But so when the sweater is just hanging on the hanger, you'll see in the pictures, this is down or below the bottom of the sweater at least 4 inches or so. Okay, now you can call this, remember on the others, I can't remember what we were doing, but I share, on the little shawl thing, I said to make pretty ties, always have one. They don't need to be equal. One should be longer, at least 2 inches longer than the other one. Now this could be your longest one. So on this side, let's just pull it over. Now I'm knitting. I decided, okay, I'm getting ready now. I understand now. So I'm going to take my needle. Oh, I already got it in here. I said, where's my needle? So I go ahead and I have a needle. I transfer all those stitches I had on the long. Let me just see if I'm on camera. Right here, because I moved it. Yep, let me just see. Can I go over maybe a little bit more this way? Okay. I'll pull it up so it's in the light a little more. Okay. So I simply transferred all the stitches that was on that long needle when I left. And now I'm on a shorter circular needle, same size, number 9, or if you used it 8. Now I just started knitting, and I'm going to knit across, keep my little 4-stitch border, and then just continue just like I was knitting on this one. And you go all the way down. Now that I have a number of ridges, I don't have to worry. Whatever the number of ridges, and you always count it from the neck edge. Right here you'll be counting. So you'll be counting from the neck. I counted 30 ridges. So all you have to do is just keep knitting, and when you get stop every once in a while, and you'll count the number of ridges as you go down this side. Does that make sense? See, as you go down this side, you will be counting the ridges as well. Let's see, can I get this back so it looks like they're matching? Okay, here it is. So I'm knitting along, and I had 30 ridges over here because I put it on masking tape. So you don't have to recount it. So you can put it on masking tape. Now you want to knit across and purl back so that you can be on the right side again. And now you're going to start the decrease. What's the decrease? Oh, let me think. Oh yeah, the decrease is the same deal. On this side, you still want them to come towards the center. So you will start with a slip knit to bring it to the center. And then on the far side, you knit 2 together. Just like that, and you already have it on your masking tape, so you don't ever have to worry about forgetting. And you will continue to keep going and do everything exactly the same. Like I said, you could stop this one a little, maybe 2 inches less than this little sleeve, just so they're not equal, but one is a little longer, maybe 2 inches. One is a little longer, not equal. It makes a prettier tie because the one that's longer is the one that's going to go around and come up. Goes around, comes through the opening, and hang real pretty. Okay, let me stop and take a breath. Let you stop and take a breath and see if I've got everything so I can get it on this one tutorial so you don't have to look back. It'll all be here. All right, let me reset the camera and come back with my last little tip. Okay, I was trying to think of some tips, anything that I need to tell you, and this came to mind. So, that I may have left off, and that will help you. You remember when we worked the neckline, okay, and then my yarn was on this side, so that's the side that I continue to work. We've gone through that front faux sleeve. Now it's time to come over here and you've done that one. And it's done. So now you want to come and pick up the stitches. You've put them on a shorter needle, just transferred them. Now we're ready to start actually knitting. Alright, before we, since this yarn is striped, this is something you have to kind of do sometimes. I didn't manipulate the yarn in the front of the sleeves. They're different size stripes. I don't care. I love it. Like I say, if you don't like that, then just use solid yarn or gradient yarn. But what I want you to do is to look at the shoulders over here and then go across and see what color you kind of start with when we bound off the neck. You see that? And you can see this clearly. It's like a beige color of this yarn. See, it's like that color. It wasn't the gray. It was the beige. So now for this, I grab my little hank of leftover yarn so that I can go ahead and start knitting. Okay, but if this was, say, gray, then I'd pull off some. I would actually pull off some until I got close to what I needed, so that once I pick up stitches, this really is smart and it looks polished and it looks professional. If you line these colors up that go across the neck, I used to show you how to do that when I would crochet my things. I always lined up those rows if I had to pull off some yarn. Well, this one just happened, on this yarn, it just happens to stop at the beige. So I don't have any problem. Now it's going to look more professional and more polished. Let me pull this over just for a second. Okay, make sure. Yep. So now all I have to do, just throw my yarn down on the floor, is to go ahead and just start knitting. You can always use that little extra yarn for something else. So I come here, I've got shorter needles, so I'm not using the long one. I'd make sure you have 4 stitches. This is the border. And then I come here, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, the one that we added, and you just simply take it. Just want to get anything that I can think of so it's all on here. And you hold it like this and pull a loop up. And then, okay. And then you're just going to let that tail go. And you're just going to start knitting. So then I'll put, let's see, can I hold that tail? You have to kind of hold that tail so it doesn't slip. Now I'm just going to start knitting. Just like this. I knit 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, that stitch is backwards. I'll turn it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I slide my marker. And you're just, now you started the downhill side on this faux sleeve. And if you, let me just knit a little bit over and then I'm going to try to think of anything else. Or, okay, steaming a little bit. Let's see, can I get over so this won't come off? Okay, so, but now, look how nice that looks as it goes across. I didn't jump and all of a sudden change colors. Now, other places I didn't try to match up the colors. I just let it be whatever it's going to be. But this is something that you just learn from years of knitting and practice, to keep that if you can. All right, so now let's see real quick I'm trying to think of any tips. All right, the tip of steaming. This is just everyday budget yarn. If you have wool, pure wool, then you know how to steam, how to wet and steam and do all of that, wet block and all of that. This is just kind of, I call it the everyday type. You're going to take it to your ironing board. I take mine to my ironing board, and I use either a pillowcase or some type of little cotton towel, some kind of long cotton dish towel. That's all I use it for, back at my ironing board. I don't use it to do dishes or nothing. It's just one that I keep. So if anybody has to iron something, my husband likes to iron, and remember, he still spray starches. He spray starches. He still uses spray starch from the 60s, people. He still sprays his pants and everything. All right, so, but you lay it on. I always, when I'm, since this is just inexpensive yarn, it's a blend. It could be a blend, or it could have some acrylic and all of that. I just lay a pillowcase on top of it, and then I lightly, don't have the iron up so high, and just kind of unroll it the best you can, and just kind of lightly, you can actually run the iron over the pillowcase, but don't kill it. Don't do it don't push on the iron. Just let it glide, stop, take a look, then move it down. Making a mess here, but that's okay. We're trying to get to the end. Hey, all hands on deck. And then I move it down, and then I move the pillowcase, and here I go. Don't hurt. If take off your mask and tape, that's fine. Okay, but I steam, open it just a little bit. Don't try to overdo it. It's gonna take a natural form where it rolls a little bit. You want that. It's a sleeve, but you do need to kind of, you see how it tapers down, and then you lay the pillowcase on there or the towel. Just lightly let a good warm iron, enough for it to have a little steam, and then come all the way down. But don't go into the ribbing. I kind of was in a hurry and I went into the ribbing a little bit. It'll kind of flatten out your rib. So you stop about right here, right where the ribbon starts. You lay that on there and then lightly iron. And then you do the same thing. Hit the camera. You do the same thing when you're working on the back. Always on the wrong side. Just in case if something happens, you don't ruin the right side or do something. But you lay one section down at a time. You can lightly, I like to make sure I give this enough stretch so once I heat it up, I can take my hands and iron it out. But now you will have to kind of put the pillowcase or the towel on these edges. See how they roll? They want to still roll. So just go again, pull everything down in place, and lay the pillowcase or whatever, and iron over it. Move it across the ironing board, iron over it. Move it across the ironing board, iron over it. Move it across, iron over it. Now you got this edge that's rolling. Put everything in place or pin it. Iron over it. Let everything cool before you move it so that it sets. And voila. I'm going to try to get this done because I wanted to have a full picture of it. Because I'm doing this in real time. So, no, I don't have a picture of it done yet when you see this part of the tutorial. But hopefully I'll have enough of it done so I can do a thumbnail. I hope you enjoy this. I wanted to go ahead. This is long, but at least it's one whole video. You don't have to look around. You can find everything you need to do these. They will all be done the same until I change the prototype, until I redesign and add something new or different. And then I may change things. Okay? So it just depends. So this is Jay. This is the end right here. I hope, like I said, be sure to send me pictures. I just love that. It just looks so pretty and school-like. And I was thinking also, if you have someone in school, do them in your school colors. Maybe you don't wear stuff like this. Well, a college student, you could do it in her school colors, or senior in high school or something. You could do it in school colors. It would be beautiful. Oh, really pretty. All right, this is Jay. Unless I think of something else, I'll say bye for now. And we're on to the next faux swag sweater. My new designs, a new upgrade. Just for you, and you. All right. Happy knitting. Bye-bye.